How's it going, everyone? My name is Ed, and in this video, I try to fix this weird idling issue on my 1993 Lexus sc400. But before I do, if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for dropping in. I hope you like it. Make sure to subscribe if you like what you see. All right, so here it is. This is the sc400 that we're going to be working on today. That is an sc300 that you'll be seeing in the background throughout the video. And the only thing that these two cars have in common drivetrain wise is they both have a W58 manual transmission. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So aside from that, this has a 1UZ FE motor in it. That has a 2JZ GE motor. I'm sure by now you guys are pretty much familiar with the differences between the sc300 and the sc400. Even though this sc400 has been converted to a 5-speed manual, and it does start and runs, but we have that idling issue as I've already mentioned, there is a problem with the clutch. And we're not gonna get to that issue in this video. That's gonna be some point in the future. But for right now, what I wanna do is I wanna really fix this idling issue to see if I can just solve that problem before I start jumping into the rest of the problems with this car. It seems right now, when the car is cold and you start it up for the first time, the car wants to die, okay? And what you have to do to stop it from dying or shutting off is basically you have to modulate the throttle. You gotta keep your foot on the pedal and just kinda, push the pedal down a little bit to try to keep it alive. And then after a couple of minutes, it eventually stays alive and it idles somewhat normal. Let me show you. So we got the key in, turning it on. Let's make sure it's in neutral, even though nothing's gonna happen. And let's start it up. It's weird. It's idling actually perfect on the first try. I have no idea what's going on right now. I don't know. Maybe it's used to it. Okay, let's shut it off and let's take a look under the hood. And the first thing that will kind of grab your attention is this IACV here. And there's a hose leading from it that's supposed to be connected to the intake pipe, and it's not. So this right here will definitely cause idling issues. And I'm actually shocked that this was running the way that it was without this connected. I usually just have this kinked like this, and I guess that worked perfectly. But either way, no big deal, right? We'll just go ahead and hook this hose back up to that pipe. But no, we can't do that yet. And that's because there is a problem. You see, there's supposed to be a nipple or something to connect this hose to, and there actually isn't. Now, I don't know if the pipe that was here before, if it broke off, or if they just didn't weld the bung on, or I'm not sure what happened. But when you look at this pipe, you'll notice that it's wrapped around in electrical tape, and that seems to be the theme of the car here. So we got a hole here, electrical tape, no more hole. The hose is split, electrical tape, problem solved. And oh, what do you know? This is your PCV valve. Yeah, there's supposed to be a grommet or something here, right? No, we don't need that. Electrical tape, problem solved. Electrical tape, electrical tape, electrical tape. Do not use electrical tape. It's called electrical tape for a reason, okay? You're not supposed to use that to fix any of this stuff inside of your engine bay. You don't want to do that. And anyways, so we found a few issues. What I want to do is I want to solve these obvious issues first, and then let's see how the car runs. And if it runs good, perfect. Well, I guess this will be easier than I thought. But if there's still something going on with this engine, we'll continue the troubleshooting process and go from there. All right, so after taking a few minutes to set up my tent so I don't burn out here in the sun, and dig through the garage to look up old sc300 parts that I have laying around, I think I found something that's going to work on this. So let me show you what I have. All right, so what you're looking at is my old cold air intake setup that I had on my sc400, and I'm not going to be using that MAF here because this already has a MAF, and I want to see if that MAF is working good. I don't even know if I can use this MAF because this is an sc400, sc300. Anyways, the main thing that I'm really interested in is using this pipe, and that's because I have that nipple, and I need something to hook up this hose to. Now, I can't really use this hose, and I don't have time to go to the store right now to buy a hose, so I found some leftover hose laying around that I think I can make work with what I have here. And once I address this issue, I think I'll be ready to move on to the next issue, which is over there. But for right now, let me go ahead and try to take this off. Oh, that's on there. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Yeah, this is ripped pretty severely. So we're just gonna chuck that over there. And all right, let's get to work. Just like that, problem solved. At least one problem is solved. So this hose is not going to really go anywhere. I will figure out a more permanent solution later on. This is just to see if that's going to solve the many things that are wrong with this car. I also have this problem here, and I did pick up a solution with a grommet. I'll pull this out the baggie in a second. First, I want to give a big shout out to Gaza Performance Garage. He actually sent me a couple pictures of his engine bay, and I quickly realized something important here that is missing on the engine bay. We'll dive into that in a second. But first, let's install the PCV, and then let's start it up and then see how it all goes. And I got the new valve in. Now, I don't know what's up with this hose. It's like, it starts off as one hose size here, and then it, you know, turns into another here, and then it goes into here. Again, I'm just gonna rock with it for now, and let's see how this goes. So right now, it's idling really high. We're gonna give this a couple minutes and see what happens. But this is really high. It's at about like 1800 RPM is what I'm seeing right now. I don't know if you guys can hear me or hear this idle, but it's all over the place right now. It's going up and down. Fluctuating right now between 1500 and 2000. All right, so before I continue with any more diagnosing of this 1UZ idling issue, I think it's time I just skip a few things and just go straight for the jugular and check the ECU and see what's going on here. Typically, these things are notorious for having ECUs with bad capacitors. So what I've done is I pulled the ECU out. Let me show you here. And as you can see, there's some grimy stuff all over the outside of this thing. I wonder if this car was like in a flood at one point. Or if moisture's getting in, or if water's getting in, I don't know. Ooh, what does this say? Can we zoom in on that? Can we focus on that there? Warning, warranty void if seal is tampered with or removed. We are about to void this warranty. All right, so I just got done cracking this thing open and putting it all back together. And for the most part, it doesn't look too bad. I did find something that kind of looked a little bit weird. I'll post a picture of it here so you can see what I'm referring to. It was one of these capacitors. Looked like it was leaking. I'm not an expert. I really don't know what to look for when you crack these ECU open. There's a guy that I was referred to from the sc300, sc400 mob Facebook page, and I reached out to him and I sent him that very same picture and asked him a question. Hey, how does this look? And from his response, he said that it looks like somebody had already been inside the ECU before. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna send this ECU to him and just have him go through it, give it a one-time over, and we'll see how it goes from there. So what I'll do then is, that's probably gonna be a few days from now. I'm just gonna jump back on just to keep everything on the same video. When I get the ECU back, if he had to replace the capacitors, we'll put it back in and start it up and see how that affects the situation here. And if we don't make any progress, then we'll move on to the next thing. All right, so I got to give a special shout out to Darryl Geller. Thank you for helping me out with this. He specializes in fixing ECU capacitors, and he's been doing it for the last 16 years, and it's what he does best. He's really good at it. And as far as like a turnaround time here, it took me like 3 days to send it out to him, and about 1 to 2 days for him to actually fix the issue, and then another 3 days for me to get it back. So you're looking at about a week and a half to 2 weeks for this whole thing to be done. But if you're local, I imagine, because he's in the Georgia area, or you know, if you're local, maybe it's faster, give or take. But anyways, one of the things that he said while he was going through this is he pointed out that there was no previous damage, but whoever went through it, they used the wrong components, completely wrong values, even wrong temperature caps. One of the caps was put in on the backside and crushed by the cover. So I'm guessing that was the one that was leaking on the back of the cover here because it was being crushed. All in all, it was definitely a good idea that I actually sent this out to him. Now I can cross this off the list. Is it gonna solve my weird idling issue? I guess we're about to find out. Huh. I still have a high idling issue. I want to say it's a little lower. I'm gonna give this a few minutes and then let's see what happens. All right, so I feel like an idiot. It's running and idling perfectly. Let me show you guys inside. Right now we're at just over 1,000. It was hovering around 700-800 for the longest, but now it's a little bit over 1,000. No problem. I think it's because it's fully warmed up or almost warmed up, whatever. Idling smooth. Very smooth, very smooth. Wow, very smooth. All right, so I wanted to turn the car off just in case you guys weren't able to hear me. Night and day difference, very smooth idle. It ended up being the idle air control valve. In my case, I'm gonna just put a little video here of the difference between the one I just installed and the one that was actually in there. There wasn't actually an idle air control motor in there. Whatever that was at the tip of the idle air control motor was clean, broken off. So it wasn't actually functioning or doing what it was supposed to do, which kind of makes sense as to why it was idling all over the place. In addition to that, the harness was all chewed up and it was just disgusting. So let's recap of the things that we did here. The first thing that I did is I replaced the intake. Next thing I did is the ECU. We got the PCV valve in. We also replaced the auto air control motor. Probably, if I just replaced the auto air control motor, that probably would have solved everything. But I don't know. I think the ECU capacitors, because they were leaking, it was only a matter of time before I was gonna run into some other issue after replacing this. At the local junkyard, I pulled this myself. I spent maybe $25 total worth of everything, and I got a lot of stuff, not just for this car. I got some stuff for this car too, because there was an sc400 there, so or GS300 I should say. So I got some stuff off the motor, and yeah, all in all, pretty good day. Took longer than it was supposed to finish this video, but we got it done. It's running perfectly fine, and I'm kind of stoked because now I can move on to something else. The next thing I'm going to do with this car is I'm going to pull the trans out and see what kind of 5-speed swap this thing has. I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know when I'm going to get to that, but it's going to probably be sometime really soon. So if you guys are not subscribed, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that. And yeah, stay tuned for that. Also coming up is this car. I'm actually getting ready to get this thing tuned. So look out for that video too. And drop a comment if you guys have any questions about everything that was done to this car. I know it's kind of a little all over the place towards the end, but you know, and then hopefully the lighting isn't too bad right now. I know in the beginning when I was working on everything, the sun was just really bright. The lighting was just terrible. Probably still not as good right now. Hopefully it's a little bit better. Yeah, but anyways, like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.